So this week, we're featuring a couple of blogs of the week, and we were lucky enough to be joined by a guest from Teach Paperless last week, and he really had a very, very interesting talk about an article posted there. No guest this week, but we've got two that we wanted to feature. So the first is from Steve Wheeler, and since we've been talking about homework on this episode of C12, Steve Wheeler kind of rails against the flipped classroom. It's over on steve-wheeler.blogspot.com. And his article is entitled what the flip, and it's the beginning of the backlash on this flipped classroom model. And he points out that all the flipped classroom seems to be anymore for most people is just distance education. And I would argue that in fact that was not the original intention, and for many teachers it's not what it is at all. It's very much meant to take the lecture out of the classroom and get content presented in a hopefully a slightly more engaging lecture style format to students, so they can come into class and be totally prepared for hands-on activities, experiential learning, good stuff, and things that they can't do at home. And it addresses, I think, the French homework concerns that we talked about earlier. The idea that this sort of learning model is being pushed off on parents. It's being put into places where students may not be able to get the support that they need. And that's I think that can be very positive if you're using tools like MentorMob or Academic Pub, Khan Academy, all these wonderful tools to give students the basics, give the students the concepts and readings that they need to do, watch a video, hopefully get some multimodal learning going on there, and then be able to come back to class and with the teacher's guidance the next day work through some activities that reinforce. So it's not the homework that's reinforcing anymore, it's the homework that's giving the intro, and then the reinforcement and the real hands-on learning happens in class with the teacher's instruction. Makes a lot of sense. But Steve Wheeler really kind of calls out the teachers who and the educational institutions that see this as a chance to just spend more time on test prep. So, okay, guys, go home, watch this Khan Academy video, here's a lecture, and hey, now we've got more time to do more lecturing or do more test prep. The goal was to kind of eliminate this stand and deliver falling asleep in your classroom sort of approach to teaching, and his concern is that really all it's done is make for even more of that, more bad pedagogy, both after school and during school. I think that's a valid concern. I just don't think that he calls out enough exactly the ways in which this can be really used in a very positive sense. There's not much talk in his blog about this idea of previewing content and then doing the experiential learning when you have an instructor and paraprofessionals and your peers in place to be able to do it. He also does, as the French parents did, call out this idea of the digital divide, and that is really critical. To make the flipped classroom work very, very well, you need to ensure that, one, teachers have the right resources, whether that's MentorMob or Academic Pub or whatever, have the right resources to record and put together these resources and these lectures, tools, videos, whatever. But you also need to make sure that students have the tools that they need to view them and access them, and that remains a critical kind of chicken and egg issue with flipping the classroom. As more and more districts, though, move towards a model where this is possible, open up computer labs after school, make sure that libraries have wide open access, as TVs get connected to the internet quite easily. I think there's going the barriers, the digital barriers, are going to drop. I think that as students, as schools move towards BYOD models as well, this will get a little bit easier, even if a school is subsidizing devices for students who aren't able to afford them. So that's Steve Wheeler's blog. Well worth checking out. Some very good points. I hope that he's missing some of the good stuff, though. The other piece is from Teach Paperless again, and this is Shelley Blake Block talking about a new effort in Baltimore. So I lived in Baltimore for several years and know that the city schools struggle a great deal, and the teachers in the city schools struggle no end. It is a very, by and large, a very, very poor, underserved district with huge gaps in resources and really significant problems facing it. So what Shelley Blake Pluck has done is begin something called EdTech Link, and in fact he's working with students to help them become entrepreneurs, teachers to become entrepreneurs, to be doing everything from as part of their learning, then teaching seniors or teaching parents, teaching people to use technology, doing things after school with a variety of programs to engage students, engage teachers in professional development, be able to really actually be edupreneurs. And it's a fascinating approach, and it is something that is really, really different. It is. I have not seen this used elsewhere, and I hope it's a model that becomes replicable. It's in its infancy, but he's co-directing this program. It is so one quote that I particularly liked: "It's a cruel irony that so many of our kids are natural innovators and entrepreneurs, but so little of our curricula encourage new thinking and new ways of doing things." Well, this will do it. So I strongly encourage you to check this out over on Teach Paperless. And it may not be anything you can take home and use right away, but it is definitely a very different approach. And for those of you who are looking for something to really shake things up, Steve Wheeler pointed out, to truly flip the classroom on its head and do something very different, said that what we normally think of as a flipped classroom. This is an interesting place to start.